All right. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I am good. I'm enjoying this beautiful weather before unfortunately, I think we're going to get some more bad weather this week. But I'm enjoying the sunshine while we have it.
Yes. No, I totally agree.
Well, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. If you don't mind, go ahead and say your name and your company and kind of the areas that you cover. That way everyone will know.
Okay. So my name is Jamie Copeland. I'm with Copeland Home Inspections here in Statesboro, and I serve all of our surrounding counties.
Yep. I've not ever sold anything anywhere that you wouldn't go. So we do pretty much the same thing. So I just kind of started thinking about some questions that I know a lot of people ask me. And then what was interesting is I decided to write them down from memory. Okay, what do I get asked the most about home inspections? And then before I decided for certain what I was going to ask, I went online and I Googled to see what are the most asked questions. What just so happened, everyone, I think except for one, I had put on my list. So I was like, well, it seems like pretty much everybody's doing the same thing. So the first question I usually get is, do I have to have the home inspected? And I can answer that as a professional real estate agent. You do not. It's not a requirement. And I certainly can go into lots and lots of reasons of why. And I always tell everybody at a minimum, get a home inspection and a termite inspection. But what things do you see that people probably like? What would be a good reason to get a home inspection?
Well, usually what I like to tell my clients is, I look at it and consider it this. It's probably one of the largest investments you're ever going to make in your life. So it's just a good idea if you're not familiar with the process, building process, those kinds of things, what to look for. It's good to have one. It's kind of like buying a used car. If you're not a mechanic, you probably want to have a mechanic or a friend or someone you trust to look at it, or a dealership you may trust. So I kind of look at it as that way. Yes, it's not required, but it's would be strongly encouraged, of course, from my end as well. So that's kind of how I look at it.
And so speaking, because this is probably the second biggest question I get is how much does it cost? What does a typical home inspection cost?
Yep. So normally I charge by the square footage. So normally I consider it from 0 to 2,000 square feet. Is my base price is $300, and then from 2001 to 3,000 square feet, I charge $350, and then from 3,001 to 5,000 is usually about $500. Just because there's a lot more work involved that goes into that square footage.
Sure.
The age of the home has a little bit to do with it as well, but those numbers are usually kind of what I go by. And that price includes a full inspection. That's going to be from the roof down. I'm looking at all the structure, your plumbing, electrical, all the major systems of the home, like your HVAC, your hot water heaters, all of those major things. If there's a crawl space, I'm going to go in the crawl space and look at the condition of it. Also an attic, I go up in attics and crawl around and look at all the structure and everything going on under there. So I do offer a $50 veterans discount for active military, and veterans. Also included in that is first responders, which includes nurses. I feel like they deserve that as well. And also teachers. So I do offer that $50 discount. And all of those prices are listed on my website as well.
Okay, give us your website. Tell me your website.
So Copeland. Yep, CopelandHomeInspections.com.
Okay, perfect. I know I've had several clients that have been able to take advantage of that VA discount, veterans discount, and the nursing and the educators discount as well. So that's a great thing that you do for them. And going back to that original question about, do I have to get the home inspected? I mean, the prices you're talking about are pennies compared to an undetected problem in the home that we're not able to see when we go and view it, that you're able to uncover. $300 to $400 on average probably is what, someone will be looking at paying. And I can assure you that, an average cost of a repair is going to be a lot more than that on something that's undetected. So it's the best money you can spend, in my opinion, whenever you're purchasing, is to get it inspected. It always makes me feel so much better. In fact, I've actually had clients sign a waiver if they refused to get one in the past, just because it's that important, in my opinion.
Right, certainly.
So tell me what you're looking for whenever you go in. Like what exactly are you checking out? I know you said you go in the attic and you go in the crawl space. What else are you really kind of looking for, in a nutshell?
Well, so the number one thing that I'm there for, in my opinion, is safety hazards in a home. I want your family and yourself to be safe and comfortable in your home. So those are the number one things that I'm looking for. A lot of times we see that with missing smoke detectors or carbon monoxide detectors. It's one thing we always check for. Also, electrical issues. We see a lot of open junction boxes. We kind of joke about that, but things like that we really consider safety hazards in a home. Those are the number one things that I go in and look at. And there can be several of them with electrical things. The way the wiring is done, things like that I see that can be a potential fire hazard. So for me, that's the number one thing that I want to go in and look for right off from the start. So.
Good. Yeah, that's good. Now, how long does a typical home inspection last? How long does it take typically?
So normally it's about 2 hours, depends on the square footage, and if there's a crawl space or not. That typically takes longer, but usually on average anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours. Sometimes if it's over 3,000 square feet, it takes me around 3 hours or so.
Okay. Now, do you recommend that the purchaser go with you during the home inspection?
Yes, certainly. I always encourage my clients to be present if they can, if they're available during the day. I like to work with your schedule. I try to be flexible as much as I can and work around your schedule. So if they can be present, I definitely encourage that. I really enjoy it. I enjoy interacting with my clients and showing them things and educating them on things that they may not be aware of. So I definitely encourage that. Of course, during this COVID-19 situation, I've kind of changed up a little bit with that. We're kind of still doing kind of go by myself and wearing gloves, taking the proper precautions. But under normal circumstances, I definitely encourage my clients to be there.
Well, and I can say too, I've been with you on a lot of these home inspections, where the clients are present, and just you're taking the time to explain to them, sort of the high points of the inspection and just the overall way that you talk with them and not trying to talk too much above their heads, and really, pinpointing exactly what you would say at a minimum, these are the things you want to take care of. So, I mean, you do a really, really good job communicating that to the client.
Well, thank you. I definitely appreciate it. I feel like that's a big part of it for sure.
Yes, communication's key. So then my final question is, what happens if there are problems that are found during the inspection?
So so normally the first step is we go back to the seller and say, these are things that we found. A lot of times it can be very minor things, some cosmetic type things. I try not to be too picky about cosmetic stuff, but I will present a recommended repairs list in my report, and it'll have it clearly listed on the things that I recommend having repairs done to or on. And then it'll go through the report and, it'll have a detailed picture of it with an arrow pointing to that. So I kind of lay it out that way. The first thing in my report will be is any safety hazards I may find. But I have that recommended repair section, as a lot of those may be things that I see that may need immediate attention. And some of those are things that I'm just recommending that in the long run, you kind of want to have some maintenance done on those. But, things like plumbing leaks or roof leaks, electrical issues, some of those things are, need to be fixed as soon as possible. Probably before you would want to, close on the home or purchase the home. So
Right,
some of
right.
them will be just listed as upgrades, things that I see if the age of your roof is getting a little bit older, or the age of the HVAC, some of those things that I would recommend an upgrade later on in the future. And I'll, kind of give you a timeline on those the best I can.
So you send your reports via email? Is that typically what you do?
Mm-hmm.
And then how long after the inspection can they expect to receive that?
I like to have mine the same day if possible. I hate to hold myself to that, but I do within 24 hours try to have the report back to you. If there are ever any circumstances that we need to have it, as soon as possible, I'm definitely willing to do that. I do like to go through my reports and make sure they're, very thorough, make sure everything's in place and worded like how I would like for it to be. So I do take time to go through those, but I am also willing to get them to you in a timely manner. So definitely within 24 hours, unless there's just some other circumstances that may arise.
That's great. That's great. All right. Well, is there anything that I missed that you feel like that, people that are confused about home inspections that might want to know? I'll make sure to link your website and your Facebook page, everything on this interview. But if there's anything you think I missed?
No, there's one thing I would say. I mentioned people sometimes get confused is, home inspection is different than the home appraisal. I think a lot of folks have trouble with that.
Yes.
So the appraiser is not going to look at things as in depth as someone like myself would. Like I said, I'm in attics and I'm crawling around all over the crawl space and looking at the different functions of the home. So a lot of times people get those two confused. I'm not there to assess a value. I'm there to assess the quality or the problems that I see that you may have in the future. So it's a little bit different, more in-depth inspection that I do.
Excellent. I'm really glad you brought that up, because I would say probably 7 or 8 times out of 10 people confuse home inspection and home appraisal. And they are vastly different. And an appraisal, if you're getting a mortgage, is a requirement. You do have to have that. And home inspection is definitely optional, but highly, highly recommended. So yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that one as well. Well, Jamie, I appreciate your time. Thank you.